Hey guys, and welcome to another episode in my chaotic garden. As you can see, the brolier's out and the boots are on because inclement weather has set in for the weekend. We have quite heavy rains predicted apparently for this weekend, nothing just yet, but apparently tomorrow it's going to get worse. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get into the garden tomorrow. So I thought, while it's not too bad right now, I would take you for a little wander around the garden so that we can see how the seedlings that I planted last week are doing. They have fluffed out and are looking quite nice. And then I will take you inside because we are making Hungarian mushroom soup for dinner. I made it last week and it was absolutely delicious. Hungary is one of Rob's favorite places to travel to in the world. He traveled a lot when he was younger. And mushrooms are something that are very much a part of our world at the moment. Taking lion's mane mushrooms for cognitive growth and stability, as well as other health benefits. And we have an exciting project that we shall be delving into very soon. We're just getting a few odds and ends sorted out, and hopefully by next week we'll be able to unpack that for you and share that new adventure with you. So until then, come along and let's go and have a look at what the veggies are doing. Just a quick look of the actual flower bed, still looking fairly nice. This dahlia has bloomed this week, looking really pretty, as well as this one. So they're all just having a nice pop. And there is a lovely daylily growing over there. These salvia are planted up and they were looking a little bit sad 2 days ago when we were experiencing the 30-degree weather, but now they are looking really healthy. So my plan is here to remove those thorny bushes at the back there and grow a lovely big circle of that purple salvia around the olive tree, which is looking really beautiful. This area has been cleared, but that glorious rain that we've had today has brought up a whole bunch of little seedlings there. Those are obviously going to be zinnia seedlings, and with the cooler weather that is approaching, they won't grow as tall as they did in summer, but they will still be a beautiful pop of color in there, while I brainstorm what I'm going to do with the spot for next year. The roses have been in bloom, but that flush is finished now, but one or two gorgeous ones there, and we should get some more. And then the veggie patch. Here we have our cauliflower and broccoli, which have just popped up so beautifully. Lots of new zinnia seedlings there as well, so I think that's going to be a really pretty bed when it all comes together. I have been this week checking the backs of the leaves of the cauliflower and broccoli to make sure that there are no little eggs that have been laid on the back, and that's pretty much what I do for the time being, to ensure that I don't get, I think it's cabbage moth that lays the eggs on the back of them. I do tend to suffer every season quite badly from aphids, but let's try and keep on top of it. I found a nice big pot for that one eggplant and it has bounced back beautifully, so maybe I'll even get something more from there. This one also is going to need to get a bigger pot, but for now it's looking really good. I have garlic. Look at that. Every single time I plant something from seed, and these seeds were gifted to me by Ronwin from Ronnie's Green Patch. She is extremely generous and shares her wonderful garden with me often, and it's lovely to have a friend to share garden tips and stories with. Not everybody gets excited about the garden stories that you share and the harvesting and the frustrations and all the rest of it, so it's really great to have a friend who shares that with you. But look at those. Every time, as I was saying, every time you plant something from seed yourself and you get growth, I just can't explain the excitement and the sense of reward and satisfaction. So really excited to see what happens with the garlic this season. I have not had luck with garlic, as you've probably heard me say this many times, that I haven't had luck with a lot of the things that I've grown as I've been on this journey. Last year I didn't grow garlic actually, and previous years I've grown garlic from the supermarket, so I thought, well, maybe that's why it hasn't grown, and these seeds are from living seeds, and I'm really excited and holding fingers and thumbs and toes and crossing everything that I need to, that I get a nice little harvest of garlic from there. So that bed is full of garlic, but anyway, excited about those. I would really like to see garlic scapes and harvest those. Here is my onion bed. Onions are slowly starting to pop up and stand up straight. I see I have kind of sorry, holding the umbrella here, I'm going to use my toes to show. This whole row here was full of onions as well, so I'm not sure what's happened to those. Either Venus has got in here and stomped on them, or a bug has pulled them out, and so I will find another tray and fill that up. Here I have planted my boxwoods, so this is going to be like a little wall with a gateway over here, and then another little wall of boxwoods over there, to make a little room here under the olive tree. And in this space, well, that's my thought process anyway. The blueberry bush, I think I need to fertilize it with a bit more of acidic fertilizer. Here, my lettuces that I planted have definitely filled in. I have harvested a couple of leaves from them the other night for dinner, and look how full and lush they look already. So that's been exciting. I have a rogue bean growing there, runner bean probably, and there is the kale. Now, if you look inside that kale over there, you can see something has been munching on that. So I need to stay on top of that and constantly be out here checking that there are no bugs and eggs laid on the back of the leaves, and I can maintain that. Every now and then I would let one of those go as a trap crop, so I would rather sacrifice that one kale over there and have 3 other healthy kale that the bugs don't eat if the bugs stay on that particular one. So we will keep an eye on that and make sure that that happens. The rocket needing a bit of a haircut, I think there. And my peppers, growing some nice peppers there. Would have liked them during summer, but not going to complain. Here we have the leeks that are supposed to be there, and my carrots. Now I have seen, you can see the wood that is over the rows where I planted carrots, because a lot of the channels that I follow, they put something over a ruler or piece of wood or something over the carrots where they plant to keep the moisture regular, so that the carrots can germinate, because they need to have moist soil in order to germinate. I have not had much luck, but however, having said that, normally when I plant my carrots, nothing happens, and then all of a sudden they just pop up. So I'm hoping the rain from this weekend will have a significant effect on my carrots growing there. Chives. Here in this section I have planted parsnips, and so I haven't covered it over with compost because I planted that before I had compost. But if you can see here, these are my beets. They are long beets that I seeded up in trays, and I have transplanted out into the garden, hoping that they are happier out here than they were in the trays. Nothing was happening in the trays. And again, here I have red cabbage, and you can see that one, something's been munching on there. So again, 1 or 2 of these might become trap crops, so that I can keep others. The tomatillos, waiting for those to ripen. Let's see what we'll do with those. And here I have broad beans. Now I have come to the conclusion that I am a good bean and pea farmer. I find the big seeds easier or easier to germinate from scratch. So yeah, I've got some nice broad beans growing there. I've only tried growing broad beans once when I very first started during COVID, and I planted them in small little pots, and they didn't do so well. So looking forward to seeing what these do. Where one or two of them haven't come up, I think I'll plant another one, but those are looking great. And here is my tomato, self-seeded, and some more leeks, apparently those there. These are the butterfly peas, which are just really pretty, and you can take these purple flowers and you can steep them in some warm water and make yourself a tea. It actually has benefits of inflammation, lessening inflammation and things like that, so that's always nice to have. The pepino melon I cut down so that it could regrow and hopefully bounce back later. And yeah, there's the garden in a nutshell. I'm really excited. It's doing really nicely. I have some pak choi in seedling trays, which I'm looking forward to putting in the garden, and some other cauliflower, and I have planted up some Brussels sprouts, so hopefully those take soon and they can also be planted in the garden. This little area is going to have lots of other seedlings planted in here. I have also planted some bean bushes at the back of the peas. Oh, I didn't show you the peas. Here are my peas. Looking forward to them climbing up this trellis and taking over that trellis. And obviously here we have a little pop of beautiful color, self-seeded zinnia. I have also planted up some calendula seedlings, some beautiful pale yellow ones that I'm going to obviously plant between all the cabbages and things that the bugs like to eat. And hopefully the aphids will use the calendula as trap crops and not my vegetables. Okay guys, so today we're going to be making Hungarian mushroom soup. As I mentioned, Rob found the recipe on Instagram and sent it to me and said, oh, with winter coming up we should try it. Anyway, I did last week, so I will share the link in the description below. But let's go over what we're going to need. So first of all, we're going to need one large onion. You need to peel it and chop it up quite finely. Then you're going to need sliced mushrooms. Now we just have normal brown mushrooms here today. Last time I made this, I used oyster mushrooms. We had been to the farmer's market and we managed to find some oyster mushrooms, which we really enjoy. Unfortunately, we went back today and they didn't have any, so we are going to use these. And mushrooms generally cook down quite a lot, so I have more rather than less. It says in the recipe you need 1 pound. I will throw up the conversion of that on the screen so that we know what 1 pound is. Then we are going to need 3 cups of vegetable stock, so that is there. Towards the end we need some finely chopped dill. We also need parsley, which is the one ingredient that I don't actually have here today. Soya sauce, you're going to need some soya sauce, a tablespoon of lemon juice, salt and pepper for seasoning, a tablespoon of paprika. Now paprika is the important ingredient in this dish, so have a tablespoon of that. You're going to need some flour, which we have inside here, and another important ingredient is sour cream. Right, so let's get started. peel and chop our onion. Oh, did I mention that we need to have 4 tablespoons of butter as well? We're going to use the butter for frying your mushrooms and your onions. And I'm actually going to use these, excuse the crazy dog in the background, dinner time, so her energy levels are up. I'm just going to chop up these brown mushrooms, and then if I feel like that they cook down too much, I'll just add in the ones that are already sliced. I don't know why I didn't just buy sliced mushrooms. I just feel like these look like they've got more juice to them. They look tastier. And here in our household, we would rather have more than less. So, we would rather add in more mushrooms than recipe doesn't necessarily say so, but I could imagine you could use shiitakes, brown button mushrooms, any kinds of mushrooms that you want to. I'm not sure if the Hungarians would, but as I said, the oyster mushrooms really were quite tasty. Now we are going to take 4 tablespoons of butter and put it into the pot. So they say to do this on a medium heat. Now I'm just eyeballing this. Again. More is better for us. And then you just put your mushrooms and your onions together into the pot or pan. All in the pot. And as you can see already, the moisture is going to come out of this. So with the oyster mushrooms, I found that after 10 to 15 minutes, I still had a substantial amount of moisture that hadn't evaporated. And I have a feeling that's because of the moisture content of the oyster mushrooms. So you may have a different experience depending on what mushrooms you do use. All right, so we're just going to let that go for a little while. Come back to it. Okay, there we go. I just want to show you all the moisture that has started to release from the mushrooms and the onions cooking together, and so we're just going to leave that, as I mentioned earlier, on the stove top for this moisture all to evaporate, so it's reduced basically. So while that is reducing, I have the kettle on to prepare the stock, and I'm just going to slice up some sourdough bread that we bought at the farmer's market, that we did manage to find there, and I'm going to toast it. I'm going to have it, and we're going to have some toasted sourdough with our Hungarian mushroom soup tonight. That's a lovely loaf. Take another look at those mushrooms. Oh, you can start smelling them now, cooking up. Epic tool fail. My measuring jug has a huge crack at the bottom that I didn't know about, so as I poured in the water all poured out. So I now have my stock in cups and mugs. Anyway, and I will add to that just now. So what I'm going to do is just going to give them 1 more minute, because it kind of comes a little bit caramelly and crystallized, which will be delicious, I must say. And again, this has been on a low or a medium heat so that you don't burn what you are cooking. And it is slowly starting to reduce. So patience is the key here. In about a minute's time, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of flour and 1 tablespoon of paprika, and I'm going to cook that all together for 2 to 3 minutes. 3 tablespoons of flour, and let that cook for 2 to 3 minutes. Look at that. Okay, next we're going to add in our 3 cups of vegetable stock. Now we need 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. 1, 2, 3. So soy sauce is quite salty, so do be sure to test before you add salt and pepper at the end. Now we need to add 1 cup of milk. So I'm going to add 3 of those, which makes 1 cup. 1, 2, 3. So once this is all mixed together, you're going to bring it to a gentle boil. Once it has reached its gentle boil, you are then going to let it simmer. You're going to reduce the heat and let it simmer for 10 minutes before you remove it from the heat. Sourdough ready to be turned. Could just do one side of the sourdough if you wanted to. But it feels like a toasty kind of nut. So the soup is simmering at the moment and it is starting to thicken up. And it is looking really, really good. I'll show you in a minute. And I just wanted to say that I really do enjoy cooking and baking and all those kinds of things in the kitchen. But there is something to be said about having a recipe that is fairly easy and practical to make. So when I do come across a recipe from the internet that is quite easy to make, I really do enjoy sharing it with people. And this one, while it sounds so fancy, Hungarian mushroom soup, it really is practical and easy to make, and it really doesn't take too long to put together. So if you want a nice hearty meal, this is definitely a winner. There's nothing worse than coming across a delicious looking recipe that requires you to have all sorts of things that are just exotic and really not something that you keep generally in your cupboard. So this one really does have a lot of ingredients that, well, we generally have in our cupboard anyway. So that's what's made it even more exciting to put together more often. So let's have a look and see how the soup has thickened up. We're now going to take it off the stove and we're going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice and a cup of sour cream. I am going to keep a little bit of the sour cream aside because it's lovely to garnish the actual dished up bowl with. So there we go. You can see that it is definitely thickened up and it is nice and creamy now. Looks lovely. Very nice. So we're going to turn it off and we have a nice big container of lemon juice, and that is a tablespoon. So I'm just going to eyeball it. There we go. Mix that in. And then we want to add in the sour cream. We have sparse sour cream today. So we don't generally have sour cream on hand at home, but we did go out and buy that. Okay, so I'm going to leave a little bit to garnish with. Mix that all together. Parsley would be also for garnishing, and dill. So I grow dill in the garden, and I always find a trusty pair of scissors is always nice and easy just to chop things like this up. Obviously you can use your knife, but this makes life much easier as far as I'm concerned. Chop, chop, chop. And last stir. That little blob of sour cream just takes it to the next level. Highly suggest you do that. I'm not going to add salt because I think it is quite salty already. And so let's eat.
Very, very good. It's like I'm back in Hungary.
Thank you for sharing this evening with me as I cooked up this delicious meal. Hopefully we'll be back in the garden next week, but until then, have a wonderful week, and don't forget to like and share and follow my channel.